Hey guys, it's Maddie, and today I'll be sharing my wrap-up for the fall season with you. So for those of you who are new to my channel, every season I wrap up all the books that I read that season. And I'm not going to give you like my full thoughts on each and every one of these books because I read a lot. But I will show you what books I read along with my rating, and then at the end of this video I'll let you know the top 5 books that I read in fall. So fall was a fantastic season reading-wise. I read 22 books. Really good. Also, quality-wise, I read a lot of good books. I only had like one-star book. I don't think I had any 2-star books. No, I didn't have any 2-star books. I had a few 3 stars, and then I had a lot of 4 and 5 stars. So it was overall a great reading season. I always read the best in the fall time. It's just the weather makes me get in the mood for reading for some reason. It's just so easy to curl up with a book in the cold weather, so I think that's why. But I'm really excited to share my books I read in fall 2017 with you. So let's just go over all the books that I read along with my rating for them. So starting with the very end of September, I started off this season with Omega by Jessica Cardo. This is the second book in the Infinity Division series, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Ouran High School Host Club Volume 1, which I gave 5 stars. Ouran High School Host Club Volume 2, which I gave 5 stars. Moving into October, I read Forget Tomorrow by Pintip Dunn, which I gave 5 stars. Remember Yesterday by Pintip Dunn, which I gave 5 stars, and this is the sequel to Forget Tomorrow. Seize Today by Pintip Dunn, which I gave 5 stars, and this is the 3rd book in the Forget Tomorrow series. Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore, and I gave this 1.5 stars. Ouran High School Host Club Volume 3, which I gave 5 stars. Ouran High School Host Club Volume 4, which I gave 5 stars. Ouran High School Host Club Volume 5, which I gave 5 stars. You're in My Secret by Ai Morinaga, which I gave 5 stars. Neck and Neck by Lee Sun-hee, which I gave 4 stars. Queen of the Tyranny by Erica Johansson, which I gave 3 stars. Super Mutant Magic Academy by Julian Tamaki, which I gave 4 stars. Moving on to November, I read Ouran High School Host Club Volume 6, which I gave 4 stars. Reputation Volume 2, which I gave 5 stars. Nisekoi by Naoshi Komi, which I gave 4 stars. Orange Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Ichigo Takano, which I gave both of these volumes 5 stars. Reputation Volume 1, which I gave 5 stars. Laura Cross by Marie Lu, and I gave this 5 stars. Confess by Colleen Hoover, and I gave this 4 stars. And lastly, Orange Volume 3, and I gave this 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read in fall. Again, that was 22 books, so really good. And now I'm going to share with you the top 5 books that I read this season, starting with my least favorite to my most favorite book of this season. So let's just get into it. And by the way, this list does not include any books that I haven't reread, just because I like my top favorites to be books that I have not reread. So these are all brand new books to me that I read this season. So coming in at number 5 is a really big surprise to me. This is a graphic novel that I actually ended up really liking. I have been having such bad luck with graphic novels, and then this one came along and restored my faith in graphic novels, and that is Super Mutant Magic Academy by Julian Tamaki. This graphic novel was so funny. This is one that I would reread again. It just was hilarious. So it's really about this school where these kids are like super mutant. They have like powers, and they like are deformed and stuff. So they're kind of like creatures. And they're just going through everyday high school life like any normal kid would. And the things they go through is so relatable. It's so funny how a book about mutant children would be so relatable, but it really is. If you are a teenager, you can relate to this book. I'm not even a teenager anymore, and I still found this book hilarious and relatable from when I was a teenager. I was like, I did those exact things. So I really love this graphic novel, and I would totally reread it again because I really enjoyed it. And I'm so glad I finally found a graphic novel that I actually like. Next, I have a sequel to a book I read last year, and that is Omega by Jessica Cardo. This is the sequel to her book Infinity. I feel like I read this book so long ago. I read it in September. This was the first book I read during the fall season, so my thoughts on it are kind of askew. I don't remember them exactly, but I do remember I really loved this book. The first book, Infinity, is about a girl whose father is in like the military. He's a general, so he leaves her on her own, and he also leaves her with babysitters because she's always getting into trouble. And these two boys who are watching her have a secret to them that I'm not going to get into. But what I will tell you is that this book deals with different dimension of Earth traveling. For those of you who like the book A Darker Shade of Magic, I know that book deals with that same concept. I haven't read it yet, but for those of you who like that book, I think you'd really like this series. I feel like this series is so underrated. It's so good, and I'm just so glad that I discovered it. And I really enjoyed this sequel. This sequel follows different characters, but I really love the characters in this sequel. So I would highly recommend this series. It is going to be a trilogy, I believe, and the next book comes out next year. Coming in at number 3, I have all the volumes to Orange by Ichigo Takano. I love this manga so much. I have seen the anime. I saw it like a year ago, and I definitely want to rewatch it just because I haven't seen it in a long time, and I remember really loving the anime as well, but the manga is equally as good. This is another book that deals with time travel. If you can't tell already, I love books that deal with time travel. That's like one of my favorite concepts of all time. This one deals with that concept in a very interesting way though. So it's about a girl named Naho, and she's a high school student, and she receives a letter from her future self 10 years in the future. And in this letter, it's telling her things that her future self regrets doing and not doing, and it's also telling her that something really bad is going to happen to her friend, and she needs to do these things in order to prevent her friend from doing this. And it is a very emotional story. So sad at times, but I absolutely love it. I can't wait to continue on with this series. I read the first 3 volumes, and my library has the second bind-up of the next 3 volumes. So I do want to get to those really soon, and I'm going to get to that pretty soon because I really want to continue on with this series. But this is a great series. Even if you're not into manga, I feel like this is a good manga to start out with because it's very lighthearted. There's not a lot that goes into it. It's not something you really have to think about. It's just like I'd compare it to a very light contemporary read, but it does deal with a lot of touchy subjects. And if you are someone who gets triggered by like suicide and suicidal thoughts, I would recommend to stay away from this one because I wouldn't want it to trigger you, but if you're okay with that, then definitely give this manga series a try. I would highly recommend it. Coming in at number 2 is the conclusion to one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I love this trilogy. Another one that is so underrated, and that is Cease Today by Pintip Dunn, and this is the 3rd book in the Forget Tomorrow trilogy. So this book came out this year, and once I got it, I actually received it from the publisher, so thank you for sending this to me. I was really happy to receive it, and once I got it, I was like, I need to read that like right away. I was so excited to read this, and it definitely did not disappoint. I think this book was such a good conclusion to this trilogy. So the first book, Forget Tomorrow, also deals with time travel. So many time travel books on this top 5, but I love time travel books. So this one deals with a world where when you turn 17, you're able to receive a future memory from your future self, telling you what your job is going to be, who you're going to marry, all that stuff that determines your life. So this girl named Callie receives her future memory, but her future memory is of her killing her younger sister. So she is taken into custody before she commits this crime, and throughout this book she's also figuring out things about this world that aren't really good. It's a very good dystopian trilogy that I would highly recommend. I feel like I always talk about this trilogy because I want to get so many people to read it, but I really enjoyed the last book in this series. Each book in this trilogy is from a different character's point of view, which I think is really interesting. I ended up loving all the points of view in this book. And this one deals with the daughter of the chairwoman of this society and kind of the dictator of the society. And it's from her point of view, and I found her point of view so interesting. She was such a sweet character. She shares a lot of personality traits that I have myself, so I found her very relatable. And I just think this book concluded this series so well, and I know I'll always be reading this series in the future because I just absolutely love it. And my favorite book I read in fall 2017 was a huge surprise. I didn't think I would love this book as much as I did, but I loved this book so much. It is a sci-fi book. I am not a fan of the sci-fi genre, but this book, for a sci-fi book, it just blew me away, and that is Warcross by Marie Lu. So this book has been getting so much hype this year, and because it was also getting a lot of hype, I was afraid the hype would get to me and make me not like the book or have too high expectations. But the hype is real. I know, I can see why people love this book so much now. So for those of you who have not heard of this book yet, be surprised if you haven't. It's been all over BookTube for the past few months. But this book is about a world that takes place like 10 years in the future, which is not a long time off. And it's about this world where this game called Warcross exists, and it's a virtual reality video game that's become super popular. So this girl named Amika is very poor. She can't pay for her rent. So she decides that she's going to hack into the Warcross game and steal an artifact from the game that she can trade in for a lot of money. So she tries to get the artifact during the opening championship game for Warcross, but she accidentally ends up putting herself into the game and the whole world sees her. And because of this, she's like, I'm in big trouble, I'm getting arrested. But she instead gets a call from the creator of Warcross named Hideo, and he asks her to come out to Tokyo to help him track down a hacker who is trying to ruin Warcross. So this book was so interesting. I am not a video game player. I don't love playing video games, but I like reading about video games, I guess. So I just found this book so interesting, especially getting to know like virtual reality and the concept of that, and the concept of Warcross itself was so interesting to me. And I love the characters. I loved Amika. She is a very unique character. She's like Chinese American, but she also has rainbow colored hair, which she was just so fun to visualize. So she was definitely unique in that way. This book is the first in a series, so I'm super excited to read the second book. It doesn't come out, I think, until later this year, and I can't wait that long just because I love this book so much. But I'm really looking forward to it. And if you guys want to know my more in-depth thoughts on this book, I do have a review posted for it, and I'll link that on the screen so you can check that out if you so wish to. So yeah, favorite book of the fall season, hands down. Love it. Read it now. Okay. So that was my fall wrap up and the top 5 books I read this fall. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments the top 5 books you read this fall season because I would love to know. If you like this video,